Fury. Since you've been gone, things have gotten much worse. How do you think I came back?
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
This is personal.
Very few of us know about the wars fought in the shadows that have raged on this planet. Do you feel responsible?
Where are the Avengers?
This war is one I have to fight. Alone.
You're the most wanted man on the planet.
You don't know what they have planned for you.
The great Nick Fury. One last fight.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just dropped another brand new Secret Invasion trailer with a bunch of new footage, so we'll break it all down. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs. If you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for the episodes, just like I do for all the other Marvel Disney Plus series. Be sure to subscribe to get them. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer footage, we see Nick Fury coming to this area in the woods that's fenced off. It seems like the same gravesite where he goes to see his own tombstone, like they make believe that he's died, and that's why he's been gone. This is probably something that happens after the events of the Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit scene where Talos and his wife have been pretending to be Nick Fury and Maria Hill. He's reunited with Talos since he's come back, and they explain that he hasn't been back to Earth since the events of Avengers Endgame, and Talos basically catches him up on everything that's been happening. Like, things have gotten much, much worse, and what he's talking about is the group of Skrulls within his larger group of good Skrulls that have turned dissident and have started to try and replace world leaders taking over the Earth like comic book Secret Invasion. The main villain is Gravik, this character here. I know it seems like he has some special powers. He might just have more developed abilities to shapeshift, and that's what he's doing here. It seems like he's doing the same thing that Groot did, making his limb grow really big during Avengers Infinity War. It's the same basic concept. It does seem like there might be some Super Skrull Easter eggs during this, like they're trying to create a Super Skrull, but I think these particular Skrulls just might have more advanced abilities, but they themselves aren't a group of Super Skrulls or anything like that. The difference with the Super Skrull is that he has the ability to mimic the powers of other superheroes, and that's not what these Skrulls are doing. They're just turning their bodies into different types of weapons. The way they explain the villains in the movie is that within Talos' larger group of Skrulls that he's been leading this whole time since the events of the Captain Marvel movie, some of them have grown tired waiting for a new place to live. Like Nick Fury promised them in the 90s that he would find them a new planet, a new place to live, and he hasn't done that so far. So a group of them just get pissed off at waiting, and they just decide to take the Earth. Like, well, the Earth is here, why don't we just make this our home? And that's where you get to the whole plot of them taking over the planet. So this isn't meant to be like a completely separate group of Skrulls from a different planet. It's meant to be from within their own group. The reason Samuel L. Jackson said that Nick Fury hasn't been back to planet Earth since Avengers Endgame is because the events of Endgame, the blip, Avengers Infinity War, the snap, Thanos, everything, the deaths of the Avengers, or some of the Avengers, just completely broke him. That's why during the trailer they reference, where are the Avengers? Because Nick Fury hasn't put together a new team of Avengers yet. And he's basically telling Talos and the others in the trailer, well, this is the reason I showed up, because things got so bad. We see him actually come back to planet Earth on a spaceship. Samuel L. Jackson also said the reason why he's not wearing his eye patch during most of the series, or you at least see him during most of the trailer not wearing the eye patch, is so that he seems like a much more vulnerable character than he did in the previous Marvel movies like Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. He was meant to be the person who had all the answers and knew where everything was headed. But now after all that, he has no idea what's going on, so he's scrambling on the backs of his heels trying to catch up with all this evil group of Skrulls and what they've been doing this whole time. Then we see at least part of the series takes place in Russia around the Kremlin here, where there's a large explosion. The evil group of Skrulls start to make it seem like a couple of wars are breaking out. People wondering who are responsible, like you see Maria Hill here monitoring them while the explosion goes off. Later in the trailer, Rhodey says that he is like the most wanted person in the world right now. Damage Control is after him. Pretty much all the other world governments are after him. It sounds like the evil Skrulls impersonate him to make people think that he's behind all these attacks. And the way Kobe Smulders explained Maria Hill is that she'd been trying to contact Nick Fury about all this trouble with this bad group of Skrulls for years, and he hasn't been answering her calls. But this whole time since Avengers Endgame, Maria Hill has been running around the planet trying to put out these smaller fires as this group of Skrulls starts to do crazier and crazier things. You notice they get a brand new custom version of the Marvel logo like most of the Disney Plus series. The color's a little bit different. It's a little bit greener, like the green of the logo, the Secret Invasion. You also see a little bit of blood splatters on the logo itself. Then we go to Great Britain and we find out what's going on with Sonya Falsworth. She's meant to be the daughter of the original Union Jack, who was a member of the Howling Commandos back during the first Captain America movie. But the way Olivia Colman talks about her character, she is stone cold, kind of like a British version of Val, doing really WTF things to protect Great Britain. So even though it seems like she's working with Nick Fury, she's meant to be kind of an antagonist on the side next to the other real antagonist, this evil group of Skrulls. When she says old friend, it sounds like they've been working together for a long time. When you see Talos confront the evil Skrull Gravik here, you notice that the room when all the other Skrulls behind him change into him just to show him how they're everywhere. The actual room that they're in has all these banners of different important world leaders just highlighting what their grand plan is, like we're going to slowly replace all the world's leaders. The big rumor is that's going to include the US president, and Rhodey right now, as of the events of this series, has become the right-hand man advisor to the US president. It's not Thunderbolt Ross yet, he will become the US president, but it sounds like they'll either find out that the current US president is a Skrull himself or gets assassinated, and that paves the way for Thunderbolt Ross to take the presidency by the events of Captain America 4. But that's why you see Nick Fury meeting with Rhodey, of all people. He's trying to inform him about all the Skrulls infiltrating world governments, and he's close to the president, so that's why he wants Rhodey to know. He asks him, how much do you know about your security detail? And Rhodey's like, what? What are you talking about? We find out that he's been using his grave site, or the fake grave site, to just hide some extra weapons, which is a very Nick Fury kind of thing to do. Speaking of untold Nick Fury story, there's a rumor that his wife is in this, played by this character here. Like Nick Fury has had a wife this whole time. There's references to his home life during the events of Captain America Winter Soldier as well. It sounds like they'll explain a little bit of that during this. Maybe not his entire backstory, but a little bit of his untold story that you didn't get in the other Avengers or the other Marvel movies. You also notice in the mausoleum here, zoom in and enhance on these plaques here representing the different people that are buried here. Some of these look like star charts. When Sonya Falsworth, Union Jack, is talking about the wars fought in the shadows, it sounds like they've either been using some of the Skrulls for cloak and dagger stuff, like the US government, the British government, have been using these Skrulls for special missions, and then some of the Skrulls just turn against them. Like you see them looking at this group of a bunch of Skrull bodies in stasis here, or either dead bodies or bodies that they've captured. These might have been Skrulls that they had working for them. Like it sounds like a very Val type of twist, where the US government, the British government wind up being responsible for a lot of the problems that happened during the series. Like the governments have been taking advantage of the Skrulls this whole time, using their abilities to their own ends. We see Emilia Clarke for the first time in this new trailer with a bunch of new footage. She's supposed to be playing Gia, who's Talos' daughter. There's a rumor that by the end of the series, she might wind up taking the Abigail Brand name as her alias and being a version of that character from the comics. Not actual Abigail Brand, but she'll be a lot like Abigail Brand, and they'll just use that name for her character. This is what she looks like in her Skrull form, though. She's meant to be the little girl from the Captain Marvel movie that you saw Talos reunite with when he reunited with his wife on Mar-Vell's spaceship. It's just that she's grown up since then. The way that Emilia Clarke explains her character is that she does want to be a good person, but she gets tied up with these evil Skrulls, and she's kind of resentful of Nick Fury because he hasn't delivered on his promise of finding the Skrulls a true home. She's also a little estranged from her father, Talos. So ultimately, she is going to help Nick Fury and Talos. But it's not like she's playing the Skrull Empress or anything like that. So when Sonya Falsworth is telling Nick Fury, do you feel responsible for everything that's happening now with this evil group of Skrulls, that's just paying off the idea that Nick Fury hasn't delivered on his promise, and that's why they've grown so dissonant. Like, we're tired of waiting for a new home, we're going to take this Earth for ourselves. He got a little sidetracked with Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet, the Snap, the Blip. Otherwise, he might have been able to find them a home. We see Everett Ross come back. There was a little bit of new footage of him. Remember, he's a fugitive from justice because Val ordered his arrest after finding out what he was doing in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, helping the Wakandans. There's a French newspaper that references the Avengers in the Battle of New York. I can't see the date on this, so I don't know which Battle of New York it's referencing. It could be the one in Avengers Endgame. It could be the one from the first Avengers movie. I think most of the references in this are to Avengers Endgame, though, just because we're moving the timeline forward. We see more of the Skrulls' secret base in this Russian abandoned power plant. It seems like they're trying to create this weird device. A lot of rumors that this could have something to do with them trying to create Super Skrulls, like extra powerful Skrulls. The actual Super Skrull in the Marvel Comics is tied heavily to the Fantastic Four, so I don't know how many Easter eggs we'll see for that during this series, or if we'll see an actual Super Skrull by the end of the series. But that might be what they're trying to create with all this extra power. Like, why would they need all this extra juice? This just seemed like a group of Skrulls trying to attack either the presidential convoy or some other world government leader's convoy. When Emilia Clarke's Gia character tells Nick Fury, you don't know what they have planned for you, I think the idea is that the Skrulls are trying to replace Nick Fury because he's so connected to everything. They'd be able to gain access to all kinds of technology, all kinds of connections, and take over the planet much, much quicker. You can let me know what you think is inside this secret case here. Like very Quentin Tarantino, show me what's inside the case. Everybody thinking about Samuel L. Jackson with the case in Pulp Fiction. It just says it's a specimen container and it's from Damage Control. We see Nick Fury confront Gravik, the main villain, at this Russian power plant at this secret base, their special device, so it seems like this will be towards the conclusion of the series. This scene of Gravik using his powers all Groot-like to grow his hand out and snatch somebody seems like it's connected to that clip of the helicopters with the Skrulls taking out that convoy. The big thing though, at the end of the trailer, he ends the trailer saying, "One last fight," making it sound like Nick Fury plans on dying during this series. But the whole joke here is that he's at his own gravesite. He's already been pretending to be dead this whole time. So even if they do pretend like he's dead at the end of the series, I think that'll be a feint, and he'll be back during Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Like Samuel L. Jackson will continue to come back as Nick Fury as long as Marvel Kevin Feige will have him back. Generally, the whole vibe of the series is meant to feel a lot more like Captain America Winter Soldier just doing the Secret Invasion comic book storyline with a few exceptions. Like every single Avengers character isn't going to be in this, like a Skrull isn't going to run around pretending to be Spider-Man. But the whole idea is that Marvel is using Secret Invasion to set off this whole Dark Reign era in Marvel Phase 5 where the villains start to take over because it's characters like Val and Thunderbolt Ross trying to seize control using fear coming out of Secret Invasion. Like the world finds out what the Skrulls are trying to do. Oh my god, they're trying to take us over. We need to protect ourselves. In Thunderbolt Ross, Val, those kinds of people take credit for getting rid of the Skrulls and ride that wave of popularity to even greater power. Thunderbolt Ross becoming the new US president and paying off that line from Avengers Age of Ultron where Iron Man wanted to protect the world by wrapping it in a suit of armor. And the Hulk was like, that doesn't sound like a great thing. Like, what about our personal freedoms? Basically implying that a world like that would be more akin to a police state. But that's what Thunderbolt Ross and Val's grand plan is during Marvel Phase 5. But because the series is coming out in June, we'll start getting more footage really soon, so of course I'll do more videos. If you have any questions about the characters or the plot that's going on during this, just write it below in the comments. There'll be a brand new Blue Beetle trailer from DC tomorrow, and then the day after that will be a brand new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. There's supposed to be a billion Easter eggs in that. Of course I'll do videos for everything. Everyone click here for that brand new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer video and Easter eggs, and click here for that other new Secret Invasion trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.